Intelligent and industrious, highly skilled in medicine and technology, with a creative, innovative and visionary idea and an unorthodox way of thinking, able to set priorities, identify partners and bring to life their groundbreaking concepts and solutions that fight diseases and improve human happiness and well-being. Healthcare hackers for the greater good. Do you want to become one? EIT Health InnoStars presents real healthcare hackers, the winners of the EIT Health RIS Innovation Calls for 2019 and 2020. In this podcast series, they share their experiences, the opportunities they identified, and the challenges they had to overcome. Listen in.
Hello, everyone. This is Healthcare Hackers. My name is Andrew Wrobel, and I am your host. Today, I am joined by Matej Buzgo, the CEO of Inocure. Inocure is a Czech startup that is currently working on a project called HepaMATRIX. We'll explain what HepaMATRIX is in a second. Matej, welcome to Healthcare Hackers.
Yeah, hello. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Fantastic. So all the podcasts, all the episodes that we are recording here are always about a health issue that a startupper, a founder identified and was trying to find a solution to them. Can you explain to us what health issue did you identify and your startup?
Inocure is working for a longer time on a very important tank, which is connected with very low efficacy of pharmaceutical development. More than 90% of all clinical trials fail. And actually, when we were checking up the process, how the new drugs are evaluated and tested, we find out that in the very early stages, there exists a 90s fashion method of cell cultivation. Therefore, we employed nanotechnological solutions based on electrospinning to make scaffolds which enable to grow the cells in 3 dimensions in the same way as they are growing in the body. By this, we are able to increase the relevance of pharmaceutical drug testing. And also, we are able to reduce the number of animals used in preclinical trials.
So can you tell me how it actually works? How does the solution work?
The solution is based on nanofibers, which are having very similar structure to the extracellular matrix in our bodies. So to all the tissue which you have. When you seed cells on such an artificial membrane, you are able to recreate the environment as is in the body. The main advancement in our system is that we are not only mimicking the way how the cells are arranged, but we are able to talk to the cells using chemical signals which are controllably released from our scaffolds. This enables unprecedented formation of artificial tissues in the laboratory outside of animals, which are having properties which are very similar to the ones which are in our human bodies. When you are testing a new drug candidate on such models, you can be sure that the action is very similar to the one which you will observe in the body. By this, you are having a higher predictability in the development of a new drug treatment.
Okay. And if you could tell me how you think, patients can benefit from that technological solution.
The technological solution enables the patient to have a new treatment in a shorter time because we will reduce the preclinical testing and we will increase the efficacy of clinical trials. So they will have cheaper drugs which will be faster available for them. And it is applicable for a very wide range of solutions, which are going from most serious diseases such as Alzheimer's disease, but also cancer and other diseases, including rare diseases, where we will be able to help the pharma industry to find treatment for them in a shorter time.
Okay, so now tell me a little bit about a startup itself, because, when you think about a solution, it is always that those who look at it from outside think that it takes just only a little time to develop. Whereas, it's always a bit more complicated. If you could tell me what the biggest challenges on that way to develop, HepaMATRIX were or have been, what is it? What would it be?
Yeah, actually, Inocure was founded in 2015 by a group of young scientists. So this itself was giving a lot of challenge to the start of the system. Moreover, we are hardware-based, so our research is also very intensive from the equipment and all the consumables perspective. So it's not a cheap research. So the key challenge for the start was to secure enough funding and enough cooperations from universities and other companies to actually bring the technology to life. We succeeded due to Nanobet project from European Commission, which helped us in very early stages to develop the first HepaMATRIX and other solutions for 3D cell culture. So this was the key challenge in the start. Later on, as in most of the startups, actually we are researchers. So for us, what was extremely challenging was to actually dig more into the business world, to learn how the business world is spinning and to learn how we can actually bring the research to business, how to communicate it, how to be able to find, for instance, distributors, how to engage customers, and how to bring the solution to the market, which is like the ultimate goal. You can have a great innovation, but if you don't have a clear pathway how to bring it to market, it is always very hard to succeed.
So I know that in your case, you are actually dealing or selling the solution to pharmaceutical companies. How does that work?
Yeah, actually, in the very early beginning, we started with B2B selling, where we were selling direct to laboratories, companies, and so on. But this was quite inefficient. So a few years ago, we shifted our attention more to the distributor way of selling, and we are very happy with it. So right now we are appointing a range of distributors across Europe, which are selling our solution. We are always seeking for new ones. And this enables to reach a higher number of different customers. On the other hand, our key strategy is also to help the distributors and our customers to work with the product, because the product is new and they are very often facing challenges in a way that they need to change their routine. So we are giving a lot of customer support. So always our customers can come back to us. We are able to advise them how to use, how to tackle the challenges and how to get the most from our product and from the 3D cell culture models which we are offering.
You also mentioned this cooperation between, universities, other partners. It's always a challenge to make sure that you can always rely on everybody, or also, but also I would say within your team, because, one of the startups that I recently spoke to said that it took them over a year and a half, I believe, to find a co-founder because, all of them had their daily jobs. So they couldn't work on the project 24/7, basically. So they actually needed someone who would work with them. How did that work for you?
We have a very similar experience, especially in the start. We had quite a lot of problems from the perspective that many of our co-founders were also having like their other jobs. But actually, after maybe two years, we had the core team in-house, and now we are expanding it. We are having a very multinational team. We are having a very high profile, very talented young investigators and also a senior scientist, which is like really changed a lot in the lab. So it was very challenging, and it is very important for the founders in this way be open and try to support the talent when it comes to actually try to give them as much as the company can to foster their work, because then they will work for the company more motivated and they will be much more enthusiastic and they will move the company forward.
And what about COVID? Again, when you speak to a lot of different startups, you hear that that's been a challenge too. So has that impacted Inocure in any way, or your product development? Yeah,
Inocure, actually, we have both positive and negative impacts of COVID. Actually, the positive impact is that our technology for making of these scaffolds, which are supporting cells, can be also applied for manufacturing of face masks. So right after the outbreak of COVID in Czech Republic, we started to produce very high quantities of the fibers for face masks. We started developing, we upscaled a lot the capacity, and we were supplying a lot of elderly houses and other non-governmental institutes taking care of seniors to actually help them with availability of the protective equipment, which was very low in Czech Republic.
So that was a plus. That was an advantage.
Yeah, this was an advantage from our perspective, because actually we had one of unique chances to help real people just right away. And also it helped us to scale up the production a lot. So this is definitely a plus. From the other side, the lockdown, which happened in all over Europe, actually resulted in quite a big drop in the 3D cell culture sales, which we observed. And I think that the market will be facing the challenge with growth for instance, next 2 years. So this is definitely a bit more negative, because A lot of funding will go to protection anti-COVID. And I think that this part, so alternatives to animal testing and pharmaceutical development, will be a bit hampered from the actual sales, especially from the universities.
We're talking about money here, but also earlier you mentioned that one of the challenges, which was raising funding. You also mentioned the support that you got from the European Commission or the European Union. What was it like with EIT? Because you also got a grant from the European Institute of Technology and Innovation. How did that work, and how did that help you?
Yeah, it helped us really a lot. This is actually our second project under EIT Health. Last year, we participated in InnoStars Award, where we ended in second place. And it was a very important step for our company because besides the grant for developing of the technology, it was also connected with a lot of mentoring in presentation skills, and also with the opportunity to present on Bio Europe, which is one of the biggest pharma events in Europe in the main program. So it was very nice, and it was very helpful for us. And this year we are having a recent innovation call where we have a project HepaMATRIX, which is more oriented on really helping to validate and make proof of feasibility for the technology, in this case for artificial liver, which is like one of the most important models in pharmaceutics. So EIT is very supportive, and I very strongly encourage also all the listeners to check their website. They are making a lot of different webinars and seminars, and it's possible to educate yourself, but also to find different information about how to make a startup. And also they are providing funding. So their activity is very, very nice. And I think very important to increase the pharmaceutical involvement in a startup environment in Europe, because this is something, the connection between big pharmas, institutes, hospitals, and small companies in Europe is quite low. And EIT Health is helping to really boost the environment, create the ecosystem, and help all the partners to benefit from the knowledge of the others.
So if you were to give some advice to those who are looking for mentoring or, additional support or financial support, for example, from institutions such as EIT Health, how would you tell them to approach that? There's always an application form. There's always a process that you have to go through. How should they, look at that?
Yeah, EIT is great in one thing, and it has a lot of local innovation hubs. So beside the core EIT structure, which is also regional, and you are having a headquarters in Germany, you are having innovation hubs in your region. So if you are interested, if you are a medtech startup or you are interested to become a medtech entrepreneur, you can directly contact them or approach some of their events. Right now in the COVID times, there is a majority of the events held online. So it's very easy to engage with them. And you can talk with them, you can talk to them. They are able to tell you which program is the best for you, as it was in our case. So, for instance, we are having a DEX Innovation Center in Czech Republic, which is our local hub, and actually we come to EIT through them. So we were talking with them about their project, and they were advising us that this and this programs are the best for your size and for your scale, state of development. And it can really help you not just to boost the project, but also, for instance, to expand the business overseas. They are having a bridgehead program, which enables to actually go out from Europe and to go to the world. So it really enables to incubate your ideas from very early phases up to very late phases of development. They can help to scale. They have an investor network. So really, the best thing is to communicate directly with the hubs. They can advise you, and then you can apply for the projects, and you will apply to the right one.
Okay, so now let's have a sort of broader view on, starting a new initiative, working on a new medtech or health tech project. You said yourself that the company was actually set up by a group of researchers. So if you have a group of researchers who have an idea, what do you think they should start with at the very beginning? What advice would you give them?
At the very beginning, it's very important to have a well-refined idea. So not just technically, but also to know what's your market, what are the requirements to go on the market. So you need to always think few steps ahead. So for instance, when you will try to have a new pharmaceutical product, you must be aware that that the clinical trials, and even to let you into the clinical trials, require a lot of steps, a lot of prerequisites, and they cost some money. So in this case, you need to fine tune and have the strategy in your head, which is heading to the point where you want to be. And for each startup, this way is a bit different. For instance, when you are a digital startup where the competition is very high, you need to be very fast. So for instance, maybe you will need money from venture capital or from angels. If you are, for instance, having a hardware, then you need to count with the thing that it will take a longer time, for instance, to build a prototype, to test the prototype, to have all the machinery available for manufacturing and so on. So this is the very first step. Later on, the next steps, I can speak from my experience, be open and try to network as much as possible. Talk to people, engage with them.
All right. So my final question for you, what's, on the agenda for Inocure and for HepaMATRIX right now?
With HepaMATRIX right now, we are undergoing trials with primary hepatocytes. So it is a very advanced cell source for our model. We are validating it, and actually after validation, this will help us to have protocols which will help with enrollment to the customers. So then we will distribute it through our classical distribution network. Also, we are having a lot of contacts in companies which are making testing for pharma. So we will start cooperating with them in establishing of the protocols in their pipeline for the offer for pharma as a service. That's from the point of view from the HepaMATRIX. More general, Inocure also, we are having equipment for manufacturing our fibers. Here we are seeking, actually now we are building our distribution network for this part of the portfolio. And we are also seeking new partners, especially in Southeast Asia, where we can expand and where we feel that the market can be very open. From the internal perspective, right now we are in a scaling phase. So we are now searching for people and the ways how to also fund them, because in the scaling, it is also a very hard period for many companies. We need to more structure it, because as a startup, everyone is doing everything, but when you want to scale up, you need to start to have a more corporate structure. So we are now undergoing this period, and I hope that we will face it well and we will grow.
I wish you that, fingers crossed. Thank you very much, Matej, for all the experiences that you've shared with our listeners and also for all the insights. Like I said, best of luck and fingers crossed.
Thank you very much.
This was Healthcare Hackers. Stay tuned to the next episode, subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. And don't forget to check out our EIT Health InnoStars website for more info about the EIT Health RIS Innovation Calls and other opportunities and stories.